Coming up on NewsWatch 12 this morning, a kitchen fire forces residents to evacuate.
Plus, officials are warning residents to not be alone while hiking.
And for the first day of October, we're expecting some pretty warm temperatures.
Watching out for you. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6 a.m. on Tuesday, October 1st. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm David Alvarado.
And I'm Brinkley Hill. Let's check in with Sarah because this morning's temperatures definitely align with pumpkin, going to the pumpkin patch and wearing a sweater. That's how I felt this morning. But, yesterday afternoon, it was so hot. And you said we're going to shape up again to have another hot day. So
yeah, it's
crazy.
Going to be feeling warmer than yesterday, especially as we move inland. Brookings slightly cooler than it was yesterday, but still going to feel pretty hot. And this morning, we're waking up with only some warm temperatures close to the coast. Other areas, we are seeing some pretty cooler temperatures. Wairika, though, up into the 60s. But as we head over into the Klamath Basin, a few areas waking up this morning as well into the 20s. As we're heading out the door today in the Rogue Valley, we're going to have that chilly start. But by the time we hit to lunch, we're finally breaking into those 70s. By the time you're heading home from work, dinner time will be into the 90s, but we'll begin to cool down pretty quickly with that drier air ahead of us. But for the rest of the region today, we can expect to see pretty warm temperatures. We'll be into the 90s over to the west side, over to the east in the 80s. Everywhere is going to be about 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. It's definitely not feeling like fall. Even the sun in those bright and sunny skies really not looking like it. And as we head into the rest of the week, we're going to expect these clear skies to remain. There's not any rain in sight, at least for the next 7 days. And we'll talk more about what we can expect even heading into this weekend coming up in our next forecast.
This morning, a family lost their home in a fire. Fire crews responded to that house fire just after 9 o'clock last night. According to the Fire District 3, the fire started on a stovetop. That burned up and into the attic. When fire crews arrived, the residents had used a garden hose to actually keep the fire under control. Fire crews had to open holes in the roof to put this fire out.
Good smoke damage in there. Kitchen's totally destroyed. Power's pulled on it. And then a decent amount of water damage in there. We were able to salvage what we could, but it's not going to be livable for a little bit.
There's major damage in the home, making the home unlivable from smoke and water damage in the living room and in the attic. While the kitchen is also destroyed. All 5 residents and 3 animals in the home all got out safely, and there were no injuries reported. There's also a 4-acre vegetation fire that broke out at Solar Farm in Eagle Point, and this is not the first time. The fire was knocked down within the hour after it was first reported. NewsWatch 12 was at the scene as crews from Jackson County Fire District 3 mopped up. And fire officials say the forward progress was stopped about 15 minutes after the first report.
This really just goes to show we're still in high fire danger right now, and it's incredibly dry. The vegetation's dry, the air's dry, it's warm and windy, and we're actually in a red flag warning into tomorrow for those conditions, which just means that fires may start and spread more easily like we saw today.
The fire is under investigation this morning. NewsWatch 12 reached out to the Solar Farm company, but we haven't heard back yet.
Rural Metro Fire responded to another fire in Josephine County. The Oregon Department of Forestry says the main body was caught at an estimated ½ acre, and a small spot fire to the south was caught at an estimated 1/10 of an acre.
A man has been returned home safe after being rescued at Mount McLaughlin this weekend.
Rescues like these happen relatively often here in the Rogue Valley, bringing the Jackson County Sheriffs to urge people to stay safe while hiking. NewsWatch 12's Rocky Walker has more.
I've used everything in this kit to avoid having to be rescued.
Go bags have everything you would need, like a first aid kit, food, water, and a lighter. And even things you should have even if you think you won't need them, like a jacket or a headlamp for if you get lost and it gets dark.
It can easily drop below freezing, and now if you lose your way and you get caught out in the dark, you're going to get cold really fast.
But a tool that can help you from getting lost in the first place is a GPS satellite navigator.
This is one of my most important pieces of equipment that I carry all the time, and that is my sat nav.
Which shows you where you're at, the topography of your hike, and can even alert authorities for a rescue if you need one.
This has saved me from being lost many times.
Tools like these are paired with general tips to keep you safe in the instance of a hike not going according to plan, preparing for if things go awry.
Plan for the worst.
Knowing the weather the day of your hike, knowing the local wildlife and plants, the terrain, and the altitude can keep you from needing a rescue. But the Jackson County Sheriffs say if you do need a rescue, to handle it swiftly.
You can try to self-rescue, but call 911 right out of the gate.
And if the panic of being lost sets in, calm yourself down and stay put while you wait for help to arrive.
That's one of the most important things, is to try to stay calm and reason your way through the experience and hopefully find rescue or find your way out.
The Oregon Parks and Recreation Department is raising their fees to keep up with rising costs. The increase ranged from $2 to $5. Park and Rec is also expanding the out-of-state surcharge for RV campsites. The good news is that they offer free day-use parking and special access passes for certain groups. They're also seeking public input on proposals to give the director more flexibility in deciding which parks will charge for day-use parking. Parks and Rec balancing their need for revenue with maintaining accessibility to the park. And this morning, day-use park areas are changing their hours, and that's because it's getting darker earlier. Valley of the Rogue staff reminds visitors that day-use hours are going to be changing to be 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and will continue to change based on those daylight hours. Visitors can't expect gates to open and close according to the posted signs, which are going to reflect when those changes do happen. Now, the park is no longer a rest area with 24-hour access as of last fall. And NewsWatch 12 is so grateful for your support in our NewsWatch 12's 34th annual Coats for Kids campaign.
Since 1990, NewsWatch 12's Coats for Kids campaign has supplied warm winter coats to children needing them. And besides coats, donors may make monetary donations to the campaign, and they can be made by check to KDRV, and they can be made online as well. You'd visit kdrv.com and click on Coats for Kids. Donate link to make contributions online for warm winter coats for children needing them.
Yeah, we have all that information on our website right now, those red donation barrels, as well as our donation link.